Welcome back, Seekers. Tonight, we're diving into 5 true terrifying paranormal encounters. Stories that will make you question what's real and what lies beyond the veil. These chilling tales aren't just urban legends. They come from people who swear they lived through them. But before we begin, let me ask you this. Do you believe in ghosts? According to a survey conducted by YouGov in 2023, approximately 45% of respondents said that they had personally experienced a paranormal phenomenon. Now, think about that for a moment. Almost half of us have encountered something that defied explanation. Have you ever had such an experience? Let me know in the comments below. And now, without further ado, let's delve into these spine-chilling narratives that might change the way you view the world. Our first story comes from a Reddit user. When I was around 6 years old, my family and I went on a trip to visit some relatives. Because it was a long drive and I had a hard time sitting still, my dad and I stopped at a hotel so I could run around a bit. It was late at night by the time we got to our room, which was on the second floor, all the way at the end of the hall. After settling in, my mom and I went to bed. The next morning we heard what sounded like a woman weeping. We assumed it was coming from the room next door or down the hall. Later that day, after checking out, we asked the front desk clerk if anyone had been in the room next to ours. She said that it had been empty for years. Haunted hotels are a dime a dozen. There's just something about these establishments that attracts the paranormal. Our next story takes us on a ghostly ride with a terrifying twist. I was driving home alone late one night after visiting a friend in a nearby town. It was raining heavily and I could barely see through the windshield. I turned on my wipers, but moments later they failed. Just as I considered pulling over, I saw a young woman standing by the side of the road with her thumb out, hitching a ride. Thinking quickly, I rolled down my window and yelled, "Hop in." She did so without a word. As she got in, I noticed she seemed translucent and I could see right through her. Startled, I asked her to get out. She didn't respond as I tried to turn the car around. She directed me to turn left onto a dirt road. Concerned, I asked if she was sure because I didn't want to get stuck in the mud. Still, she insisted. Eventually, the road ended at a house, and when I asked her to get out again, she disappeared. Confused and shaken, I knocked on the door. An elderly couple opened it and I explained what had happened. They looked at each other and said, "You must be talking about our daughter. She died in a car accident years ago." Each of these stories offers a glimpse into the unsettling realm of the paranormal. But our next tale brings the supernatural chill factor to a whole new level. As a kid, my brother and I shared a room with bunk beds. My parents were somewhat superstitious and believed in putting a crucifix above our beds for protection against evil spirits. One night I woke up to the distinct sound of footsteps on the wooden floorboards above our beds. Terrified, I grabbed my brother's arm and we both listened intently. The footsteps grew louder and more menacing. Then, as if summoned by our fear, a green glowing orb appeared under the crucifix. It hovered for a moment before darting toward the closet. Frozen in fear, I watched as the orb vanished. In the morning, when my dad entered the room, I told him about the glowing orb. He looked at the crucifix, now askew, and replied, "I removed it last night because it was bothering me." To this day, I wonder, did my dad remove the crucifix or was it disturbed by the spirit itself? Now we encounter a chilling tale from a visitor to an old Civil War battlefield. While visiting, my friends and I decided to explore the area on our own. As we walked across an open field, we heard what sounded like musket fire. Startled, we ran to a nearby tree line for cover. Peeking out, we saw dozens of men dressed in period clothing firing weapons at each other. Equally frightening was the sight of horses rearing and kicking up dust, along with the cries of wounded soldiers. After a few minutes, everything went silent. Emerging from our hiding spot, we noticed 2 men arguing near a horse. They seemed surprised to see us and quickly vanished as if they'd never been there. Others who visited the site reported similar experiences, hearing cannons, drums, and even witnessing ghostly soldiers marching across the field. Some have even captured strange figures in period uniforms on camera, only to have them disappear when approached. Could these be the spirits of those lost in the Civil War, forever reliving their final moments? Our next story delves into the eerie world of haunted dolls, an unnerving phenomenon that has chilled many a soul. My grandma gave my sister an antique porcelain doll. From the moment the doll stepped foot into our house, weird things began to happen. Objects moved around the house and sometimes we would find the doll in places we had unleft it. Then the laughter began. One night my family and I were home when we heard what sounded like a little girl giggling. Assuming my niece was playing, we called for her but received no reply. As the laughter continued, we realized it was coming from the doll's glass case, which was locked. We raced to the room and hid under the covers until morning, too afraid to investigate further. Dolls, with their vacant eyes and eerily lifelike features, have long been associated with the paranormal. And now we bring you the ultimate showdown between science and the supernatural. To provide context for the next story, I'd like to mention that I'm a firm believer in ghosts, having witnessed several spirits throughout my life. My wife, on the other hand, is skeptical. She doesn't doubt that ghosts exist, but she believes that any apparent paranormal activity has a rational explanation. With that in mind, let me tell you about a haunting experience that occurred in my house. One evening as I was preparing dinner, I heard loud footsteps in the attic above me. Assuming it was my son, I yelled up the stairs for him to stop running. Moments later, the footsteps continued. Puzzled, I climbed the stairs and headed into the attic. The space was cluttered with boxes, making it difficult to move around. As I searched for the source of the noise, I suddenly felt a cold spot envelop me. I reached out to steady myself on a nearby box and turned on the light. To my surprise, the footsteps immediately ceased. I called out for my son again, but there was no response. Suddenly, an ice-cold breeze swept through the attic and I could feel something brush against my leg. Panicked, I fled the attic and slammed the door behind me. My wife, sensing my distress, rushed to my side and I recounted the events in the attic. Skeptical but supportive, she agreed to accompany me back to the attic to investigate. As we ascended the stairs, I could feel that same cold spot enveloping us. Upon entering the attic, we noticed that the air had grown frigid and the temperature difference was noticeable even in the middle of summer. Despite the stifling heat downstairs, the attic was now bone cold. We explored the dusty space, moving boxes to reveal cobwebs beneath. All the while, the temperature remained freezing. We even brought in a thermometer to measure the drastic temperature difference between the attic and the rest of the house. But then just as abruptly as it started, the coldness vanished. My wife and I were left baffled by the sudden shift in temperature, wondering if we had inadvertently stumbled upon a portal to another dimension or a gateway to the afterlife. Our journey through these haunting tales comes to an end, but the chilling echoes of these stories will linger in your mind for days. If you've made it this far, chances are you're eager to share your own paranormal encounters. So don't hesitate. Drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever experienced the inexplicable. Stay safe, stay curious, and keep an eye out for the paranormal because it might just be closer than you think. Thanks for watching. See you next time.